Did you want me to? Okay. Hey, everybody. Good to go. 2:30, 78 degrees. A strong breeze blowing out here at American Family Field. Hope you can hear me okay. Delaney, let me know that you can hear me okay there in the B control. Okay, well, we are underway then. 2:30 to 4, Ted Perry with you out here at American Family Field. On temperature-wise, a much different day than when photojournalist Tim Primo and I joined you on Friday for that scorcher of a day as we led into Saturday's ball game. Another scorcher on that day, too. What they did in that very fun outing on Saturday is the Brewers closed the roof over on the right field side about halfway, maybe a quarter of the way, providing unbelievably welcome shade. And the best part about that shade is that it was right over my seats. So I was expecting to be baking in the sun, and said it was a great day out here on Saturday. Cub fans were in attendance, of course, a lot of them, and they were pretty pumped when Michael Busch hit a home run on the first at bat of the game. And I am going to contend, and I'm going to talk to a baseball coach here in a few minutes, I'm going to contend that that was the best thing that could have happened to Freddie Peralta on Saturday. He's like a boxer who's kind of got to get punched first to go, all right, I'm in the fight, let's get this done. But we're going to be talking to the UWM baseball coach, Sean Wagner, in just a few moments here. I want to go over a few things here. Sold out crowd on Saturday, and if you're trying to get into tonight's game, you might actually be in luck, but you're going to need to be willing to spend right now. And these is according to MLB.com, the nosebleeds have been sold out. The cheapest spot in the 200 levels going for $180 to $300. Anything closer up to $200 to $400. But remember, tickets are still available on resale websites. And as always with these things, check for a credible source. If you're using a name that you recognize, your StubHub, your Ticket King, your MLB resale, these are all going to be pretty legit. If it's some guy you've never heard of on the internet, well, you might be taking your chances, so good luck to you there. Also coming up tonight, we have crew are off after tonight. Then they go to Chicago for Game 3. Now, there's going to be at least 3 games played here. If the Brewers win tonight, that Wednesday game at 4:04 could be a clincher, could be the best of 3 out of 5. That's Wednesday afternoon. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because the Cubs and Brewers, after Saturday, have now won 7 games apiece in this series. The Cubs held the regular season spot 7-6. Each had won 3 games here at American Family Field. The Brewers now have the season-long advantage here, 4 games to 3 at American Family Field. And the Cubs hold the edge at Wrigley by 1 game there as well. So these teams are pretty tight. Let's not pop any champagne corks just yet. It's good to be optimistic. It's nice to have a lead. It was good to have a laugher of a game on Saturday because it was a little nerve-wracking. Brewers fans know the history of this team. Only once have they advanced past, in recent years, past the first round. That was 2018 when they did get to the National League Championship Series and lost in 7 games to the Los Angeles Dodgers. And just a reminder, and I'm not trying to be down or Debbie here, but in 2021, they did take the first game from the Atlanta Braves, who then came back in this series to win the next 3. The thing about all roads leading through Milwaukee to the World Series is teams that tend to beat the Brewers in the playoffs tend to get to the World Series. It has happened all the way along, up until last year when the Mets knocked them out and then lost to the Dodgers, who went on, of course, to become World Series. But the Nationals knocked them out in 2019, and the Nationals went on to win the World Series. The Diamondbacks knocked them out in 2023 and then went on to the World Series, where they lost to the Texas Rangers. So it's a bit of history here for the Brewers. So getting past this first round is going to be key for fans to take a deep breath and go, okay, Now we're on to the next round, but we are a far way away from that. Coming up in this hour and a half, did I mention we're going to be with you up until 3:56, and then we'll be with you for all our early newscast. We got a lot going on. We're going to talk to the UWM baseball coach, who's going to explain the X's and O's a little bit better. We're also going to be able to talk to the manager, Pat Murphy. He's going to be having a news conference, a pregame news conference, and we're going to dip into that as well. So we are going to be doing a lot of baseball stuff here. Right now, let's go to Brett Lemoyne, who is joining us from Waukesha, talking about baseball cards and memorabilia. Brett, where are you, and how is the enthusiasm level for Brewers baseball out there?
Yes, Ted. Well, you know, when sports becomes the big story, right? Fox 6 sends me to only cover either fans or merchandise, because that's the level of my intellect here when it comes to all that. So I did the fans on Saturday. Now we're talking the merchandise. We're here outside WSC Sports in Waukesha. It's Waukesha Sports Cards. And the Brewers are a big business for them, especially right now. They said they've had autograph signings really since about July and August, when the Brewers really started to kind of hit their stride, getting that 97 wins. They've had signings from Durbin, Collins, and Vaughn, and they said they were nearly sold out. These are record crowds that are coming, Ted, excuse me, to be able to get these Brewers autographs. They've got tons of stuff right now in stock, including bats from current Brewers for about $100. Contreras going for $100. They've got gloves that were worn in games, $120 for Mitchell's glove. And they're saying that for sure there are people right now that are walking through the door. They may not even be huge Brewers fans, but they know a good investment because they are banking on the fact that the Brewers are going to take it all the way, that they're going to go to the World Series. And then all those items that they purchased are going to increase in value, maybe even double, Ted.
What's the oddest thing you saw for sale in there? You mentioned Garrett Mitchell's glove. I imagine it was game worn, which is tricky, and I don't mean to dump on Garrett Mitchell. He's been hurt so much. To get a game-worn glove from him might have been a little difficult because he hasn't played in that many games this year. But what's the oddest thing that you saw in there that you said, I never thought you could buy something like that?
Well, okay, so not Brewers related, but you'll get a chuckle out of this. On the rack, all by its lonesome, was an autographed Brett Favre jersey from his Minnesota Vikings days. So there you go. It was collecting dust for sure.
That might go well at WSC Winona Sports Cards, but not Waukesha. I think we're kind of over old number 4 here. Look, you joke that you're not an X's and O's guys of baseball, but you're a guy that grew up here, so you know when this team does well, what it means. So I'm not going to ask you X's and O's and why they're starting Aaron Ashby tonight instead of Quinn Priester. I got a guy for that.
Okay, good.
You're the guy that You're a guy that knows this town. You know the heart of this town. You grew up in Waukesha. What does it mean when a team like the Brewers does well?
I mean, it's huge. It's incredible. You can feel it. I mean, when I was out there on Saturday, we were on at the bars on Blue Mountain Road for Fox 6 for reporting, and it was just electric. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was just something that you haven't really experienced, that I haven't experienced. Look, I was born in '83, okay? So this is all new to even me in terms of the Brewers, possibly even getting to the World Series. I mean, that's just kind of a pie in the sky. I know they've made it this far before, but just when we think about World Series, I mean, that's just unbelievable. And here's another thing to kind of put it in perspective for you, Ted. We went over to the Green and Gold Zone in Greenfield, and they have already put in their orders for World Series merchandise. So they've already submitted it. They're saying the Brewers have to go all the way because they're banking on it. They can't even keep the Division Series merchandise in stock right now. They're restocking almost every single day. And so they've already put in their orders so that they can get those T-shirts and hats if the Brewers, we hope, when the Brewers take this all the way to the World Series, they'll have all that merch, the next day.
Well, Brett, we've all seen the social media site of the guy who has Detroit Lions Super Bowl champs, and then it's crossed off. Super Bowl champs the next year, crossed off. The optimist who covers his whole arm in tattoos and should probably have waited until they actually win something, right? So you're telling me that the Green and Gold Zone, which has been around, very reputable memorabilia store,
Yes.
clothing store for sports fans, they've already ordered their World Series? Is that jinxing things just a little bit?
Well, we hope not, right? I mean, I guess we're being optimistic. Now, the catch is, if the Brewers don't make it, if they don't win the series, the orders don't get fulfilled. So that's at least a good thing. You know, they're not going to be trying to hawk, T-shirts that we're touting a Brewers victory that never happened, right? That's just not in the cards. But they've got to be ready. And, I think one of the things that's really telling, not only about Green and Gold Zone, but also about WSC here behind me, is that they feel it. They really have faith in this team this year that they're going to go all the way. And it's just absolutely incredible. In fact, Sports Cards here, they've already lined up current Brewers players for the offseason for autograph signings. They've already got them all lined up. So they're ready. They're going to have their pen as soon as they put their bats down after this is all over. They're picking up their pens and they're going to be signing merchandise, balls, bats, gloves, you name it.
That's always fun, too. All right, Brett, we're going to let you go because I got a baseball coach coming on to talk X's and O's. Unless you wanted to be looped into that conversation and ask some questions, or are you good?
I'm good. Thank you, though, for the offer. It's always kind.
We'll let you go. We'll let you go. You're going to be on Fox 6 News at when? 4 or 5 or 6? When can we see your reports on the broadcast side?
All of them. 4, 5, and 6. A clean sweep.
All of them. Okay. Can't get enough Brett Lemoyne. All right. Thanks very much for joining us there. Appreciate it so much.
Thanks,
all right.
Ted.
That's the fan part of things with our own Brett Lemoyne out there in Waukesha. But I woke up today and I read how, I actually heard on Fox 6 News last night because I was not only a viewer, I was on it. And we talked about Aaron Ashby getting the start tonight instead of Quinn Priester. And I don't understand that. I'm a fan, but I don't understand. But I was lucky enough to get Sean Wegner on the phone. Sean is the coach of UWM baseball team, very successful program. He was kind enough, I just talked to you like an hour ago, and you're kind enough to join us from your office. Skipper, thanks for being with us. First of all, what are you doing in uniform? You guys got fall ball going on? What's happening with the Panthers?
Yeah, thanks for having us, Ted. We're in the middle of our team portion here, so we just finished up practice today over in Glendale. We were able to beat the cold front and the rain coming in, so that's a good thing. But we got about 2 weeks left here. We have an exhibition game over in Madison. We're playing Illinois State this weekend at Warner Park on Saturday. So that'll be a good exhibition test, get us a feel for our guys against another opponent. And then we'll have another good week of practice before we finish up with our second exhibition contest against Madison College on Friday the 17th, right here in Franklin at Franklin Field.
And you had a very successful spring/summer season too, did you not?
Yeah, we were able to get close, just not quite get to where we wanted to get to, right? We were the runner-ups in the Horizon League tournament. We faced a very challenging early schedule, and that was kind of on purpose. I guess that's my fault. We like to go out and we like to test ourselves early in the season, really challenge ourselves with some Power 5 and some high-level mid-major teams and kind of see where we're at, travel the country a little bit, and that kind of sets us up for conference, which is really our goal anyways. We know we have to win the conference tournament if we want to survive and advance and get to the regional. So we got to a good spot. We were in the driver's seat, and Wright State ended up beating us twice on Championship Saturday, unfortunately, and we packed our bags and they continued on.
But you did go toe-to-toe with the big boys, and it was fun to watch that from a distance. So congratulations on that. Let me ask you some questions, as I do as a fan, and I think a lot of people watching, getting ready for tonight's game might have. Aaron Ashby has been making his bread and butter as a reliever for the Milwaukee Brewers the last few seasons. He's having a great year, 5-2, a 2.16 ERA, which, as any fan knows, is really pretty good. And then kind of a little shell game going on the skipper, Pat Murphy's going to have him start tonight. Explain that to me. What's the logic there? Is it gamesmanship? Is it a lineup thing? Talk to me like I'm 5 and explain this to me.
Sure. First of all, and Pat I trust. I was able to play against him a couple times, and I've gotten to know him. Really, really brilliant baseball mind and really, really good evaluator of talent, but team chemistry. So whatever he's doing it all in, and he's going all out. But the reason I think they're going with Ashby is I feel like they have a matchup or a situation that they feel comfortable about. In just my quick research, that bat that Michael Busch had and hit that home run to kind of set the tone for the Cubs Saturday, if you look at his splits alone, he's only hitting 207 against left-handed pitchers while he's hitting 272 against righties. He's got 30 home runs against right-handed pitchers and 4 against lefties. So just that first batter alone kind of setting the tone. I think Ashby maybe gives them a really good chance there because he's been way less efficient against that left-handed pitching. And just overall, I think if you look up and down their lineup, there's a couple left-handed batters there that he might be trying to play a matchup against, right? They have a lot of really advanced information and data and analytics at their disposal that we don't. And I think that they have something up their sleeve that they're looking at that they really feel Ashby could be a good matchup against. And then obviously they feel comfortable moving either, whether that's the Priester and extending him later into the game. When you get to the playoffs, there's a lot of crazy things that happen. You look at that Boston and that New York game where they had Schlittler versus Connolly early, who are both rookies and haven't pitched all that much. You're just trying to give your team the best opportunity to survive and advance. And it's really about counting down the outs, 27 outs. So however you have to go about those outs, however you have to get to 27, whether that's really valuing the first 3 or the first 6 as much or more than the last 3 or last 6, that's what they're trying to do. So like I said, I don't have all the answers. I know that I've done some crazy things in my short tenure too. You're just trying to get in the lead early and get ahead.
Right.
But it's really just trying to play the data and the analytics that you think give you the best chance to win.
This is a playbook. This is out of Craig Counsell's playbook. He did this back in 2018 when they advanced to the National League Championship Series. He did this a couple times. He used the term outgetters. The difference between then and now is that a reliever or whoever pitcher, they've got to go at least 3 batters unless they're injured, right?
Yeah, you're right. Unless that inning ends. If they can get out of the inning before those 3 batters, then they don't have to face them. But the outgetter or the opener is something that Counsell did utilize quite a bit and was very successful with it, quite honestly, as well as the Tampa Bay Rays. They were really the team that made that popular, and they went with all kinds of different arm slots and angles, and they throw a whole hodgepodge at you. And it's really just about what do you think the best matchup is, right? It's so easy to say that 9th inning is the most important, but if you don't get to the 9th with a lead, is it really as important as the first 3 outs and getting off to a good start and getting the momentum, right? So I think that as a coach, the easiest thing that we talk about is we attack the middle innings, right? Those first 2 innings, the first 6 outs and the last 6 outs are typically high leverage, high stress outs and anxiety. But if we can dominate that middle part of the game, that's kind of where the emotion falls down a little bit. Your energy falls down a little bit. So if you can really dominate that, and maybe that's another thing they look at. You have a steady Eddie and Quinn Priester who's given them, 19 straight wins before his last outing against the Reds. If they feel like he can just manage that middle part of the game and be the person that they need, that's another way of looking at this thing. But I think that there's a reason it's Ashby, and I think they like his matchup against a lot of these guys on the top of that lineup.
Final, 2 more quick questions for you. I'm going to ask about a former player of yours in a second, but you mentioned Pat Murphy. What has he done so magically this year? Because this is a team that was picked 3rd at best in the NL Central, behind the Cubs, behind the Reds, and he's pulled a rabbit out of a hat once again. He's the reigning National League Manager of the Year, and I've got to think the leader in the clubhouse to be it again. What's he done so well in the eyes of a skipper like yourself?
Yeah, really, to me, it's a couple things. I think that the team takes on the personality of their leader. And Pat Murphy is a very hard-nosed, I'm going to grind, I'm going to make you work for it, you're going to have to earn every little thing, we're going to sweat together, we're going to bleed together. And that's how they play, right? They're a bunch of dirt dogs. They value the defensive side of the ball quite a bit. They don't slug like other teams slug, right? I think they play college baseball at the highest level. And that's what's fun for me as a coach to watch and talk about with my team is the way that we want to play baseball, hard-nosed, gritty, blue-collar. You're seeing that in the Milwaukee Brewers at the very highest level, where a lot of these guys could just push aside that agenda and say it's about me and trying to earn mine and get my contract. But he has these guys rallying together. They're a brotherhood. They love each other. You can see that on and off the field. They really just play together, and they play hard. You're seeing them solid defense. They run the bases as well as any team in the big leagues, with Christian Yelich being the leader in that. They steal a lot of bases. It's just hard to beat them, right? Because they're not going to beat themselves. And really, that's what baseball is about. It's, can you not give the game away versus can you go and take it from another team? So the Brewers are tough because they're scrappy, right? They're never out of a game. You saw that the last couple of weeks. There was a couple of games they're down 3 to 6 runs in the last couple of innings, and they just keep fighting and clawing. And what's super impressive to me is what both him and his hitting coaches have done. You really see them drag out of a lot of at-bats. They're really pushing pitch counts. They're making really good swing decisions, which is something in our program that we talk about a lot. The game sounds really easy. It's about swinging at strikes and taking balls, but it's really about knowing your zone and your strengths and then what the pitcher is going to do to you. And that's something that when you watch this as a coach like myself, that's something that you really want our players to follow, is they're so good at just watching the pitch that's 2 inches outside and then attacking the pitch that they kind of leave over the middle of the plate. And it's not a home run every time, but if you get on first base, these guys are on second base before you know it. So it's just so fun to watch. It's a fun brand of baseball. They're not beating themselves, knock on wood. The pitchers are throwing strikes and not giving too many extra opportunities. And then the offense is doing just enough. And it really comes down to 2-out RBIs in the playoffs.
Yeah, he calls them the angry woodpeckers, and that's kind of the way they play. Let me ask you one more, because I imagine as much as you can, I know you got the Panthers busy with the games you got on your horizon here, and you've been trying to watch, but I bet you're also watching the Yankees Blue Jays, because there's a UWM Panther in the Blue Jays lineup, and he's having a great series. We're talking about Dalton Varsho.
Yeah, Dalton Varsho is one of ours, obviously. He's a self-made player. Scotty, who was my former head coach, and myself, we'll both tell you that every player that comes out of this program is successful. It's because of the work that they put in, right? You have to have a good work ethic. You have to have determination. You have to be able to be resilient, because we're a program that's kind of built from the ground up, right? And we have to battle through some obstacles, but these guys put their heads down and they just charge on, right? And Dalton's one of those guys. Son of a former big leaguer and a scout, grew up pretty much in the locker room. And what really makes Dalton special, besides just his unique strength, is his instincts and his IQ, right? He really thinks the game at a high level. What most people don't understand is he was a Gold Glove winner last year in center field, but he was really a catcher his whole career, right? And I think that gives him a leg up because he's really good at understanding the inner workings of the game. He understands pitch calling. He understands some of the nuances of the pitchers. And I think he carries that not only to his at-bats, but to the outfield as well. He reads swings at a super high level. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's super quick. He's really agile. And he's just really good at knowing that first step and getting to the ball when he has to. So we're very proud of what he's done so far. And like I said, it's all him, right? Yesterday he was 4 hits, 2 home runs. Big integral piece of that lineup, getting that second win in the ALDS. But he's made himself, and I think he's going to find himself with a big contract coming up here because he's so valuable on the defensive side. And you just see what he's doing offensively now. When he's in there consistently, he's able to help that team win and produce some runs.
And he had the circus catch of the year this year out in center, where it bloop, 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 blopped all over and just landed back in his glove. That was a classic.
Oh, yeah, I joked with him after that game. It's just how you draw it up, right? He practices it all the time, I'm sure. But that's just another example of being able to find the baseball and get the job done.
Yeah. Coach, I'm going to let you go, but I want to say one thing to you. I have a friend who's got a kid, and I was helping him with some BP over at Whitefish Bay High School, which is sometimes where your guys work out. And there weren't any coaches around. It was just your guys. I think it was just a bunch of your players getting together and getting in the cage. And I got to tell you, this kid is a 6-year-old, and he's watching your guys in awe. And they could see him looking at them and what role models they were. And I just want to tell you, they acted generous toward him with their time and their tips and their advice and their encouragement. And it just speaks so highly for the Panther program. And I just want to say that publicly on air because that's a reflection of their coaches they had in youth baseball and high school, but it's also a big reflection of you and your staff.
I appreciate that, Ted. We value character. We want good men who are going to become good fathers and husbands and all those types of things. So as much as we want to be successful on the field, we realize the opportunity that we've been given, and we value it, right? We want to make these people the best people that can go into the world and become valuable members of society. And the guys are hard workers. You saw it, right? We're not around. We're not allowed to be around. But these guys know what it takes to be a high-quality Division I player. And we just preach to them all the time. It's about what you give back to this game and to others and leave the place better than you found it, right? So we want them to make our program better. But if they can impact people like your friend's son and those that they see on just random occasions, those are the things that we try to value. So I appreciate those words, Ted. I'll share it with our players.
Well, my alma mater, UW-Madison, got rid of their baseball program long ago, so I am a Panther fan when it comes to college baseball. So keep it up, Skip. We appreciate your time, and thanks for making us smarter baseball fans as we watch Game 2 tonight.
You're welcome, Ted. I appreciate it. I just try to pass along what I've been given, so it's not from me. It's from all those that I learned from as well.
Sounds great. Skip, thanks, and good luck. All right, that was UWM baseball coach Sean Wagner joining us and telling us the theory behind letting Aaron Ashby start tonight. You got some lefties at the top of that Cubs lineup. A lefty-lefty matchup is a little harder on the hitter than it would be a righty-lefty matchup, so a little strategy there to get those outs because you got to get 27 of them out, and the sooner you get them, the better. Speaking of outs, we're going to go out for a second, do a little commercial break, come back and talk more as we get you ready for Game 2 of the National League Division Series. You are watching Wisconsin Live Desk on Fox Local. Keep it right here. Welcome back to American Family Field. You know we're getting serious because we switched to the headset. That's because the wind is so strong out here. Photojournalist Tim Primo said, can't have that little microphone on you. We got to have the big headset, the big boy headset. So how about that? Roof is closed behind me, as you can see. It is likely going to remain closed. Cloudy skies. I'm not a meteorologist, nor should I be predicting the weather, but we can try to check in with some of our weather experts. I know we've been talking to them, but it is 68 degrees. It's dropped a few degrees since we've come on the Wisconsin Live Desk with you. Brett and I were talking about the enthusiasm for this team. it's visible. As you go around town, you see banners. Let's take a few shots and take you around Milwaukee. Of course, this is from the outside. Magic Brew, and they're tearing there, and this is downtown right there over one of the crosswalks. Also, City Hall has a couple of banners, and Magic, they talk about that Euchre Magic. There it is. This is one of my favorites. This is awesome. This is down at City Hall, and you got Jackson Churio right there. You got Sal. You got Caleb Durbin right there. Who else? Fastball Freddy on the left, and on the right, Billy the Kid, William Contreras right there, and, of course, the captain, Christian Yelich, who has just been such a good, quiet leader this year. And again, that Magic Brew, going back to that term, Euchre Magic, that the broadcasters have talked so much about, the passing of the great Bob Uecker in the offseason as he ended last season with that heartbreaking loss to the Mets. And Bob Uecker knew it before all of us were really ready to admit it, that was going to be his last time behind the microphone for the Milwaukee Brewers. He had the sense then that his days were not long, and just left us with that voice. Let's bring in Tim Van Vooren, sports director Tim Van Vooren. And this is a gift for me because I didn't know that you'd be available. Are you in the Euchre seats? Where are you? Are you in the front row, or where are you sitting there, Timmy?
I'm in the back row of the front section, so I'm pretty good. The Euchre seat is back up. Come on, that's cliche. You know that, Ted. So I'm not that far back. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure I'd be able to join you today either, but the chance to do so is pretty cool. I heard you talking about Magic, so we got the Milwaukee Magic towel. Had you seen these that are going to be handed out tonight, Ted? So here we all go, getting ready for the 8:08 start.
That's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go, Milwaukee
hey,
Magic.
I don't know if you heard. I just had Sean Wagner on, the UWM baseball coach, talking strategy with us, talking about why Aaron Ashby is starting. Try to get those left-handed outs, those left-handed batters, your Michael Busch toward the top of the Cubs lineup there. We've seen this before. Craig Counsell did this in 2018.
Yeah, and Craig Counsell and Pat Murphy see baseball very similarly. Pat Murphy, obviously the Brewers manager, selecting Aaron Ashby to start tonight. To me, the interesting thing about Ashby is he pitched in game one in relief. You're not going to see too many guys pitch in relief in one game and come back and start in the very next game, but that's what Ashby's going to do here. It makes a lot of sense on paper. If it doesn't work, it'll be, gee, were they outsmarting themselves? So you and I talked a little bit about in the studio last night about this move. By the same token, if it works and you neutralize those left-handed hitters, and then you get maybe 2 innings out of Ashby and 5 strong innings out of Quinn Priester, if that's the way they go, the Brewers would be set up very well heading down to Wrigley Field for Game 3 and possibly Game 4.
Let's talk about Saturday's game a little bit. I think I was the only Brewers fan in American Family Field, and I was there as a fan, who was not overly bothered about that leadoff home run for the Cubs. And here's why. If you look at the history of this team this year, Freddie Peralta is sort of like a boxer, in my opinion, who needs to get punched in the jaw once before he goes, all right, I'm in the fight. So I knew once that happened and he got out of that inning, I knew they were in for a good afternoon.
Yeah, the thing about, and I don't disagree with you with the way Peralta pitches, unfortunately, some Freddie Peralta games over his years in Milwaukee have ended as, 1-0. He leaves with a 1-0 deficit or 2-0 deficit in the 6th or something like that. So I wasn't concerned with the homer per se, as long as the Brewers could come back and do something offensively, which they were able to do, and then some in the bottom of the first inning. That, to me, was the response that you were looking for this team that had been coming off the bye. And then as the game played out, it appeared to me Milwaukee was clearly the fresher, deeper, rested team, and the Cubs were trying to patch it together because they had played a challenging series just to get to the second round.
What did you like Saturday? What's really, obviously you got to like double after double after double to start their bottom part of the first inning there. But as the game went out, what did you like? What made you say,
one thing I liked, Ted, and it's indicative of the Brewers was Sal Frelick forcing the error. Sal Frelick hustling, and then Nico Horner makes an error, and that really opens the floodgates for an even bigger inning. That's the way the Brewers play. It's not going to go down in the box score as a hit for Sal Frelick, but because you don't sell out on the play, you commit to it. You're trying to make the play through effort. it forces the action. Nico Horner's a good second baseman, but he makes an error in that situation. The Brewers, as they have done so often this season, when they're in their good groove, they capitalize on a mistake, make it into something more than just a mistake. So that's one thing I definitely liked about the way the Brewers approached it. And then I like the way that they just, once they were comfortably ahead, and yes, you're going to give up, you don't want to give up 3 homers, but they were all solo homers. And once they got ahead, the Brewers were just kind of efficient, turn it over, get this game out. Let's get to the day off and wait for game 2.
Has the lineup for tonight been announced? And if so, are there any surprises in it?
No, I have not seen it yet. Obviously, with the later start today, we're talking still 5 hours from game time.
Okay.
So Jackson Churio would be the one that you're watching for the Brewers. Is he going to be in? Is he going to be out? Where's it going to, what's the domino effect going to be from there? I was just outside the clubhouse not long ago. I saw Blake Perkins, Christian Yelich, some of the guys coming in ready to go. Everybody looks pretty loose, ready to roll. It wasn't like Blake Perkins was like, oh my gosh, there's going to be a bigger role on me because of Jackson Churio or something like that. It looked like, guys are getting ready for a baseball game. These guys had played them their entire lives.
Look, and I'm not going to say you don't want Jackson Churio in there. You do want Jackson Churio in there. But when he wasn't in there, we got free burgers, if you know what I'm saying. They went on a nice little run, not because he wasn't in, but the point was there were guys who stepped up and filled that void.
And most notably at that time was Isaac Collins, right? What a revelation he was this season. And his best work offensively and defensively was in the absence of Jackson Churio during August. And Collins tailed a little bit at the end of the season. I think a lot of that was just, he had played so much more than he ever had before, but also had a baby. Churio comes back, role changes, etc. So for sure you want Jackson Churio on the field if you're the Milwaukee Brewers. Do you think it's insurmountable if he's not? I don't think so. Again, you talked about the winning streak that they had through August. Churio only played 1 game in the month of August. He missed the majority of the month. And Collins would be the guy who steps up to play in left field with Perkins there in center field if Churio is unable to go here today.
William Contreras seemed particularly inspired on Saturday when he hit that double that drove in the second run, I believe it was, and he popped up at second after that slide. He was like ready for a street fight. He was just that excited, like, let's go. That's fun to watch.
I agree with that. William Contreras plays with kind of caged energy to me. And, during a regular season, when you're a catcher and you're playing as often as he does, maybe you don't see it every time down the base paths or whatever it might be. But that guy is coiled and ready to go. In that situation the other day, boy, you saw that come out. It was the go-ahead run there in the first inning, double. And Contreras delivers the one that puts the Brewers ahead and, really touched the crowd back off. I think the crowd had something to do with Saturday as well. Even you talked about, Ted, the Cubs homer. It wasn't like the crowd went, oh, no, now we're sunk. It was like, all right, let's encourage the Brewers. I think right away in that bottom of the first inning on the Contreras hit, that's where you saw the crowd respond, Contreras responding to that. Kind of a collective moment for the Brewers on the field and in the stands, Brewer fans in the stands.
8:08 start tonight. The Packers are coming off of a bye week. Tuesday is their off day. Could there be some Packer sightings tonight at American Family Field? Or is Matt LaFleur like, no, you guys had your break. Get your you-know-whats back to Green Bay and stay there?
Yes, we will not see a lot of Packers, but I don't think it's impossible. And I'll tell you this. I was talking to one Packer, obviously sometime around the Cowboy week. I don't know if it's before the game or when it was. And he's like, I get set to cover postseason baseball. That sounds like a lot of fun. I said, yeah, you're going to come down and all? He's like, well, really, a Monday night would be the only time I could. I said, hey, game 2, it's a Monday night. At that time, he didn't even know who they were playing. He was like, really? Let me check that out. October 6th, he's putting it in his phone. Let me make a note of that. So he's like, we're going to go on the bye for the weekend, but we will be back in town. So I can't tell you who that was, but he wears the green and gold on a regular basis, and he's a baseball fan. So maybe some guys will, band together and get down here for this game. Obviously, the Brewers went up to the Packer game against the Commanders earlier this year. Several players did.
Right.
A group of maybe 8 players, and a group of some of the coaches, too. Maybe 6 or 7 of the coaches were also there that night. So maybe they'll give back tonight. If it's going to be, this would be the night it would be.
Jared Goff signing up, the Lions quarterback signing off his news conference yesterday after the game saying, go Tigers. So there's that, respect in the Motor City for each other. Final question for you, and I'm going to ask a personal question, which I know is going to probably make you melt on camera. you grew up here. You're a West Bend guy. You were in high school, if my math is correct, for the 82 team, because I was a freshman in college and I got a year on you. Although you look a decade and a half younger, but that's neither here nor there. How do you both cover this team objectively and also keep your fan, because you love sports? Is it difficult being both the reporter and the fan? I'm an unabashed fan. I don't even have to lie about it. I'm a season ticket holder. I'm a fan. You, on the other hand, got to cover the team more as a beat than I do. Are you still enjoying this?
You know what? I truly am, Ted. And this is just where I come from on it. So it's different for every guy, every gal who's a writer, who does this from a sports standpoint. I'm really a fan of the sport, to be honest with you. So, yes, I grew up watching the Brewers. Yeah, I was here in 81 when they clinched the split season. Raleigh Fingers gets the out. And Ted Simmons is coming out there. They're hugging and they're going to the playoffs. It was a strike season. Excuse me. So, pardon me. Bring back memories. And the 82 season, of course, with all those characters. So to me, it's a chance to see, the sport, the intensity. Even walking out here to join you earlier, I was talking to the clubhouse guy over on the visitor side. I said, man, the intensity in the building, it's just so awesome. And even the vendors are smiling and everybody's fired up about this. So that's what I enjoy about it. And, I enjoyed covering the Brewers in their lean years. I enjoyed being around, Phil Garner at his winning first season and never had another one. And Jerry Roy, it's fun to cover sports if you like sports. This is the intensity. This is the urgency. This is where it is different, no question. And the fact that it's right here in Milwaukee and it's this rivalry and it's the Cubs and it's Craig Counsell. You've said all those same things through. But if you did grow up in the upper Midwest, this is pretty unique.
Super fun. Tim Van Voorn, I'm sure we'll see you on the broadcast side later on, but I appreciate you taking about 10 minutes with us to talk about your thoughts on Game 1 and Game 2 and get a little verklempt talking about your teenage years. That was nice to see you show emotion. Yeah. All right, Tim Van Voorn, sports director, Fox 6. We appreciate your time. He's very, he's more sensitive than he lets on. I happen to know that. No. Love talking sports with TVV. We don't even have to be on camera to do it. We just walk over to the sports office and sit down and start talking. It's always fun. We're going to take a break. I might put on a jacket. Yeah, it's getting that cold. It was 68 degrees last time I checked. It's now 65. We're going to be playing hockey out here pretty soon, for crying out loud. Roof is closed. It's staying closed. Don't even ask them to open it. We'll be right back. Billy, how are you? Oh, Whoa, caught me. These are short breaks here on Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll continue this conversation. Just saying hello to a colleague over there, but he can't come on and talk to us. Saturday, Freddie Peralta, first batter, Michael Busch. Home run. Cubs fans going crazy, high-fiving, acting like they had won the series on one home run. And then Freddie settled down, and the Brewers' bats came alive. And you would have thought that Wrigley Field had been torn down, and they were all just getting the message that it had been torn down. They got quiet. They got really quiet. It was super fun to see. Let's hear from Freddie in case you missed the post-game comments. Here's Freddie Peralta, and I believe we have Jackson Chourio, too, talking about the game in which he was 3 for 3 and the injury that he suffered. So let's roll that.
Yeah, it definitely changed everything for me, and it gave me more confidence to just put my pitch in the sun and just try make them contact and get quick outs. It was awesome.
No, tremendo juego como todo el mismo Freddy que hemos visto.
Tremendous. You know, the same Freddie that we've seen all year long. So I think it probably could have gone a little bit better for him there, a few pitches, but very happy with the work that he put in there.
Man, that's what he's been doing all year. It's been phenomenal. It's pretty unbelievable to watch.
The MRI right now, you know, obviously it's real scary. Having that same hamstring injury to the same leg, we're hoping that it's something he can come back from soon. We have no idea when that would be. He's just getting out of the tube right now. We'll have somebody look at it. Yeah, could be devastating.
No, estamos esperando, pero...
No, they haven't said anything. We're still waiting, but physically I feel good, and I feel in a position where I'm ready to keep going and ready to keep competing.
Well, we'll find out. As Tim Van Voren just told us, the lineups for tonight's game have not been announced. It's doubtful we'll see Jackson Chourio in there. If he was in there, I imagine he would be DH only and not aggravating things by running around the outfield. He's a pretty good outfielder out there. He's got a good glove, and he does hustle. He will literally run into walls. In fact, he just ran into one last week trying to make a catch. So not sure what they plan to do with that. But as Pat Murphy had said, if there's any sign, if there's the slightest sign that he's in pain, we're shutting it down. For how long, we don't know. We already know we're without Brandon Woodruff, the Brewers are, for this series, who was coming back after shoulder injury. What has him out right now isn't a shoulder injury, it's a lat injury. Much like a hamstring can be day to day or can be a very prolonged injury to keep you out of play. But we know we will not see Brandon Woodruff on the Brewers roster for this round. That can always change if they make it to the next round, and certainly can change if they make it to the World Series. Fans had a great old time out here at American Family Field on Saturday. I was one of them. I had a great time. It was a good time. A lot of high fives for Brewer fans, and the Cub fans around me, I'm going to be honest with you, they were pretty nice folks. Okay, I know a couple aisles over, there was a Cub fan who got arrested, pulled out of here by 2 Milwaukee police officers. That got a big ovation from both, actually, some Cub fans as well. They didn't like the way he was representing them, but Brewer fans certainly ate that up as well. Let's talk to some of those fans now and hear their reaction after that big game win on Saturday.
Loud. And the energy was just crazy. It's like, I've been to other playoff games, but today was different. It was loud, and you could feel it.
We needed this win. This was the Cubbies.
The players, they work as a team. They love each other. They play well together. They are awesome. Go Brewers!
High five indeed, all the way around. You got to love that. Okay. So we're playing here at American Family Field tonight, but there will definitely be a Game 3 regardless of what happens tonight because this is, a best-of-5 series, so you got to win 3 games, right? Game 3 goes on the road Wednesday at Wrigley Field, but if you don't want to travel down to Wrigley Field, and that might be a tough ticket to get, we have options for you, including the official watch party at Davidson Park over at the Harley over at the Harley headquarters on Juneau. There's going to be local food trucks there, vendors, tailgate games, and a big, big old screen. And then there are official bars as well. But let's be honest, if you're in a bar in Wisconsin and they're not showing the Brewers game on Wednesday, what they're saying is, we want to go out of business soon. Because everybody wants to see this team. Even fans who do not know a foul pole from a foul ball, they're watching. It's the thing that people are talking about right now. And we've been so glad to be a part of that. 11 Brewers games were on Fox 6 this year on certain Tuesday nights. We had a great, great fun with that. We had a fun little segment that photojournalist Tim Primo and I did called I'd Like to Speak to the Manager, in which we brought questions, your questions, to Pat Murphy, and he was great in his answering of those questions. We had a lot of fun. Maybe in this show or in another show, we'll play some of those answers for you because it's great fun. Right now, we're going to take a quick break, and we're getting closer to hearing from some of those players at 3:30. Let's show you the podium inside American Family Field. Well, let's show you outside of American Family Field right now. You can see the traffic getting a little thicker, and there we are waiting for a couple players. We don't know who we're going to see. We think Isaac Collins might be one of them, who came in for the injured Jackson Churio the other night. But we are getting you ready for Game 2 of the National League Division Series. You are watching the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is 65 degrees, and I have a feeling that's going to get even colder as the first pitch gets closer. Welcome back, everybody. Ted Perry outside American Family Field. You are watching us live on the Wisconsin Live Desk. And what we're going to do right now, before we went to break, I told you a little bit about a segment that photojournalist Tim Primo and I did all summer called I'd Like to Speak to the Manager, in which we took your questions and brought them inside to Pat Murphy on the games that we were airing on Fox 6 on those game days. And they were pretty fun, and I think the segment worked, and it worked because of you and your creative questions. And after the first time we did it, Pat Murphy looked at me and goes, I like this. This is fun. And what he meant was, I like your questions. You asked good questions. So without further ado, here's a sample of one of those. I'm not even sure which one this is, but we're going to play it. And then when we see the players come out live, we're going to switch to that. So enjoy. Oh, this was our first one. This sets the stage for I'd Like to Speak to the Manager. Here we go. Welcome, everybody, to Tuesdays with Murphy, a.k.a. I'd like to speak to the manager. We appreciate you doing the time for this. Fans are getting a chance to ask you questions. But I want to begin with one. How do we address you? Skip, Pat, Murph, Skipper? I'm not a player, so can I call you Skipper?
You can call me whatever you want, man.
What do you prefer?
Most people just call me Murph. No, when somebody just says Pat, I don't respond because no one has really, since my mom, I don't think, called me Pat.
And she probably said Patrick.
Patrick, right.
My middle name. What do you want on that note? What do you want from fans in an interaction? You're in many ways, you're the face of the team, and you also got a job to do, but, you're also in sales in a weird way.
Yeah, I don't look at it that way. Interactions with people are important to me. So whatever they are, and whatever they want to say or whatever they want, I'm gonna address them. They're respectful. I'm gonna be respectful. That's all there is to it. I love doing it. That's part of life. If you can't deal with people, then pick another job, I guess.
So you welcome it.
I welcome it.
Awesome. Yeah. Like me, you're north of 60, and like me, a lot of your days are spent around people in their 20s or 30s. Your job is to make the better ball players and win games. I'm just wondering, as somebody who's seen a lot of life, and you're working with these guys who are at a stage of their career that you were once at, is there a responsibility to be, I don't want to call it a life coach or a mentor, but sort of be there in a non-baseball way for them?
I couldn't be any other way because this is a game played by people. It's not just a game of the technique, and it's not just a game of the strength and power. It's a game of people. It's a game of confidence. It's a game of response. It's a game of toughness, competitiveness, relentlessness, and it's very difficult. Our game's very, very difficult to excel at, and with that, I feel like it comes back to who you are more than sometimes just how good you are. Be able to handle the ups and downs. You have to have a certain level of play, and then you have to be the right who. So I focus on that when I'm trying to mentor.
But these guys know they could come in here and talk to you about life problems and not just, I can't hit a curve tonight.
I mean, usually you can't hit a curve for more than one night. You make it sound like I couldn't hit it tonight,
but tomorrow,
I'll be fine tomorrow.
Tomorrow I'll own it.
No, I mean, it's. I hope they feel like they can come in and talk about it, but we've got a great staff, and different guys go to different people and relate to different people, and but hopefully this is doors open and they can come in and say whatever they want.
Let's get to the fan questions. Statewide response to this thing we're doing here. Jim from Baraboo writes, how much do sabermetrics and lefty-righty splits factor into your lineup, or do you just sometimes go with your gut and said, damn what the book says, I'm playing this guy tonight?
Yeah. I mean, look, when you've been doing it a long time, you know the players, you know your situation. You want to set yourself up so the other team can't exploit you. So you can't just go with your gut, Your gut for me means years and years of experience of how to do it. And you ask for help, you ask for, thoughts on what other people think. Your perception sometimes is jaded by your emotions, you know what I mean? And sometimes you got to take that out of it. But, they call them sabermetrics, I guess. The data helps us. If we're immune to the data, then we're making a mistake. You know what I mean? You have to take the data and look at some things. But you don't. It's still about people. And you don't just let the data dictate everything you do.
Scott from Brookfield, if you were allowed a walk-up song, like a player is, walking up to the mound to talk to a pitcher or to take a pitcher out, what would that walk-up music be? And would it be different if you were walking out to address an umpire that you had a disagreement with?
That goes without saying. If you're going out to address an umpire, you don't want to play. When I was a coach a long time ago, they used to play this song when I went to the mound. Spill the wine. Have you ever heard this?
Oh, yeah, spill the wine, dig that girl.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I don't know what my walk-ups are. I don't think about it, but
Every fan, sits there and says, what would your walk-up song be? Every time I go to a game with buddies or something and we hear a walk-up song,
Really?
everyone says, what would your walk-up song be? It's something those of us who never made it to the bigs think about. Bob in Franklin writes, what are your thoughts on replacing umps with computers or AI to call balls and strikes?
Yeah, I hope we don't get to that. Being in the game this long and 45 plus years as a coach, you're like, they're part of the game, they're part of the story. I think we'll probably get to a challenge system where the guys get the challenge, and I think that'll be interesting for fans, and it'll be somewhat helpful, I think. But I think the umpires don't get enough credit for their ball strikes. I think they're better than we think. We just remember the one that they miss, and you're going to miss them. You're going to miss them.
Because the technological changes have worked. The pitch clock has worked. The replay has worked. It just seems like that might be the next step in the evolution.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going full-time computers or AI or whatever. I think that that stuff will aid in helping the umpires get all of them right. But I think that it's still a game played by humans. Let's not take that away.
Keep that human factor. All right, let's go around inside now and listen to the players. This is Isaac Collins, number 6 on your roster, talking about the year he's had so far. What a great year. He became a dad, and he's really been a key part of this team. Let's listen.
But if my name's called upon, I'm gonna be ready for my moment.
JR on the left side.
Caleb, now that you're at the end of your season, you've talked about it before, but can you look back at your journey as a third baseman and what it was like for you learning that position when you first started versus how you are now? What point maybe it was where things really started to click for you as a defensive third baseman?
Yeah, I think the last couple of years, having the chance to kind of learn the position a little bit more, really didn't start playing there until my, first or second full season in Pro Bowl. So always really liked it coming up through the minors, but having the chance to really get everyday reps there, especially at this level, I grew a lot, and I think just having that type of everyday reps at this level, you're going to get a lot better just from game reps. So definitely a lot of improvement there. Again, taking ground balls every day with Maddie before the games and Joey and Bryce, they've helped me a ton. So obviously a lot more to improve on, but definitely take pride in knowing that there was a lot of growth there this season.
Stay on the left with Kurt.
For Isaac, when you look at what you did the first 4.5, 5 months of the year, and you compare it to how the last month or so went, what do you feel like you need to do to get back to that version of yourself?
Just, learn from the mistakes and continue to take the game one pitch at a time. It's a long season, and, I had a really good stretch there, middle of the year, and, there's just ebbs and flows. Sometimes the ball bounces your way, sometimes it doesn't, and, the best way to just kind of get back to the best version of yourself is, trusting your process and, what got me to that point. So continually working and just staying present and, again, just being ready for my moment.
Go to Steve, second row in the middle.
For Isaac, the on-base skills you had in the minor leagues, you'd be able to translate to this level. Just what's been the key for you there to be that effective at that part of the game as long as you have?
Just trusting my approach at the plate and, really being stubborn with my approach. The pitcher obviously has his plan. They have their reports. They're scouting me and what they're trying to do, and, not falling to his plan and just sticking to what works with me, what works for me, and just trying to execute the game, really.
Go up to the top row on the left side.
Caleb, what's Murph's message to you guys heading into this game?
Yeah, same as game one, I think, and just heading into the postseason is pitch by pitch. Nice to be up 1-0, but honestly doesn't matter. I think if we lost game one, we'd have the same approach, and that's just fighting from pitch one to, pitch 270 or whenever the game ends. So that's kind of been the mindset from game one, is going to be the same mindset throughout the entire postseason. But yeah, this team has a lot of fight, and it doesn't matter what happens throughout the game. It doesn't matter if they hit a leadoff home run. We're going to keep fighting till the end.
Come over to Bruce, standing up on the left side.
Caleb, facing Imanaga, is it any different approach than you would have for any pitcher? Obviously, you guys are as good at it as anybody not swinging at balls. What is the approach against Imanaga? What's worked for you before?
Yeah, same thing goes with them. It's nice because we've seen them a lot, and we faced Imanaga 3 or 4 times this year already. So it's nice when you have your own personal film to look at. I think I have 7 at-bats off him already, so that's super nice. You're obviously looking at what he did against you and the way he attacks you, and try to learn from it and maybe pick up on any tendencies you think that he has when facing you in particular. But we have our hitters meeting later, obviously, and we'll go through the different ways we want to attack him, but probably is not going to be too different than the way we approached him earlier in the season.
Follow-up is, do you go after him from what you've seen before, or what the present version of what you're seeing from him in his last starts?
I think both. I've looked at my at-bats from the first time I faced him, and definitely watching some film when he faced the Padres in the postseason, so that's good film to watch. And I forget who he faced before that, maybe the Reds. But, you're definitely looking at film pretty recent, because pitchers do tend to adjust throughout the year. So you definitely want to pick up on those types of tendencies.
Go back over to the right side, second row.
Hey, Caleb, I don't know the exact details, but, you were traded in the offseason from one team that had an opening at third base to another one. Like, what did you do once the trade happened? What did you do to kind of get in position to make the major league team and win this job?
Yeah, I think was added to the 40-man with the Yankees to end last season, so automatically I'm kind of going into the next spring training ideally hoping to fight for a starting spot. So already kind of had that in my mind, knowing that would be an opportunity. So then once I was traded to the Brewers, the only thing that really changed was the team. I still have that mindset of chasing your dream and wanting to play in the big leagues. So I figured it'd be third base would probably be the spot. So that was kind of an adjustment to, okay, now that's more of my mindset, is trying to hold down the corner. But no matter what, I was, fighting to try to make a big league roster, and getting traded to the Brewers ended up being a really cool opportunity for me.
Back to Adam, third row in the middle.
I have one for both of you guys. Your stories aren't totally dissimilar. Midwest guys, D3 and minor league Rule 5. I'm wondering what you think your paths to sitting on that podium should say to other ball players, and if it says anything about your team, this Brewers team.
You got it.
Yeah, I think it's really cool because we're both probably, I don't want to speak for Isaac, but we're probably both in positions, early on in our college and pro careers where not a lot of people thought that we could be at this spot, speaking into a ton of reporters, ahead of a postseason game. But that being said, I think we believed in ourselves. I know this was obviously something that I wanted to pursue and thought that I could do, and he'd probably say the same thing. But it's nice now because there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of extra stuff going into the postseason, but having the kind of background that we have and that a lot of guys have in this room, we have nothing to lose. We're playing with house money. It's kind of how we feel. we also feel like we're really good and can go all the way. So it's kind of this really cool balance of, there's a lot of pressure involved, but, I don't think we feel too much of it. I think it's just from the type of people that we have, in our clubhouse.
Yeah, to build off of what Durbin said, I mean, it really comes down to just believing in yourself. There's been plenty of times in the minor leagues where, started questioning whether I could do this. Doubt started to creep in, and you really just have to take those hard moments as lessons and really just try to shift your perspective on things and just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And, Durbin and I, we worked hard to get here. We earned every bit of our success up here. And just, for other guys that are in the minor leagues, just, never give up. Just keep going. Keep going no matter how hard it gets. And eventually, the ball will start to bounce your way, and kind of can take that momentum and, ride that wave for as long as you can.
Come back to the left side, top row.
Isaac, is there anybody or a group of people inside the clubhouse over the last week that's taken on more of a vocal leadership role? Because I know there are a handful of you that are experiencing postseason baseball for the first time.
Yes and no. I mean, we don't have too many super vocal leaders. We all know who our leaders are, and they know as well. And they throughout the entire year, they've always given us tips and advice of how to go throughout this big league season. But when it comes to the playoffs, I mean, we all trust one another, and nothing really changes. It's just comes down to just really executing the game and trusting your teammates out there and just playing to win.
We'll take one more, staying on the left, third row.
Thanks for both of you guys then. The atmosphere in here on Saturday was crazy. Obviously, we can expect more of that tonight. What is that like to play in front of a crowd like that is just absolutely bonkers? And do you enjoy playing in front of that?
Yeah, it's the best feeling. Yeah, I mean, it's the best because you grow up and you want to play in these big games in the postseason. So finally getting that first little taste, you think about it, and I feel a little spoiled because rookie year, being able to kind of experience that. A lot of guys, throughout their careers don't even get to experience that. So kind of getting that early on under my belt, both of our belts early on in our career is super cool.
Yeah, AmFam was rocking Saturday. Even just for the player intros and, the towels waving, that was, like Durbin said, that's what you dream of. That's why we play this game, to win a World Series. It's when you go out in the backyard playing with ball with your friends, you always think about hitting a home run in Game 7 of the World Series. So, for it to be a reality is just incredible. And, it's, words can't really describe what it's like taking that field with the fans and, division rival. It's just, it's amazing. And for us to get that win, Game 1 is huge.
All right, guys, appreciate the time. Good luck today.
Thank you.
One is from suburban Chicago. That's Caleb Durbin. The other is from suburban Minneapolis. That's Isaac Collins. They are both technically rookies, and they are both a huge part of this team. Neither, I would say this team would not be here without either one of their contributions this year. Caleb Durbin just being rock solid at third base with a couple of clutch home runs over the course of the season. Isaac Collins filling in so remarkably when Jackson Chourio went down with his hamstring injury. And he was, an everyday player during that streak that had him at a franchise record, 14 straight wins. And that's the one that got all of us George Webb burgers for the third time in our, career here. Or the third time in this city, should say, getting the George Webb burger. So both these guys are really solid rookies, and both are totally chill. You would not expect to be two rookies facing their second game, their first primetime playoff game, because Saturday was an afternoon game. They're both pretty relaxed, both with really great answers there. We're going to take a quick break here on Wisconsin Live Desk. When we come back, We're going to wrap things up. Maybe we'll even have time to hear from the skipper. He's coming up at 4, but if he starts early, we'll take him right here. Your Wisconsin live desk continues. It's now 63 degrees. If it gets to 59, I'm telling you this right now, I'm going home. Welcome back to American Family Field. Ted Perry along with photojournalist Tim Primo out here on Wisconsin Live Desk as we are getting ready for Game 2 of the National League Division Series. Brewers taking Game 1 in a laugher, 9-3. And it was as warm Saturday as it is cold today, dropping down to 63 degrees right now. Roof is closed. It's going to stay closed. I'm all certain of that. The Brewers hotline, I just called their hotline. They say the roof is closed and will likely stay closed. I can't imagine that changing at all because we have clouds in the sky and it's a little chilly too. You can heat that place up, but you cannot air condition it. Not yet, anyway. We have been asking you to show your Brewers pride and to send us a picture, maybe inside American Family Field, maybe in the parking lot. Maybe you traveled like I did. My girlfriend and I recently went to San Diego to take in a game at Petco Park out there. We took some pictures, so I don't know. Maybe that'll appear here. Let's see. Roll 'em, Delaney. What do you got? This is from South Milwaukee. Osvaldo. And look at that happy Brewer crew right there with all the racing sausages. By the way, chorizo with a shocking win on Saturday. Cost me $5 to the guy behind me. This is Natasha from Greenfield celebrating Father's Day. This was back in June, of course, celebrating Father's Day. Nice contingent there. We hope Dad is in there somewhere, right? We hope Dad was invited to the Father's Day picnic. That would be nice. The racing sausages are with April from West Allis. She's getting all warm and snuggy with the brat and the hot dog and the Italian right there. That looks like a great picture there. The racing sausages at Rally Round. Who else we got sending in pictures here? Oh, look at this. Cameron from Thiensville sending in this with the caption, Brewers Buddies. I love this shot. I love the shot that, remember that time we went to the Brewers game? Now, stay on this shot for a second because I'm going to tell you this story. Well, I'll tell you this story in a second. Let's just keep going with Carly. All you need is glove from Caledonia with the fam there. All the kids looking great. I wish I have that same Brewer hat right there from being a season ticket holder, the one with the tassel on it. I kind of wish I had packed it today. Who else we got here? Is that the end of the pictures? That's it. Okay. So here's the deal. We saw those two little guys there as we come back out to us here at American Family Field. I am a season ticket holder, so I have playoff games. Girlfriend and I went on Saturday, had a good time. Can't go tonight, giving the seats to my brother because I'm working. I grew up a Cubs fan. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be very honest about my background here. And my best friend has remained a Cubs fan. I moved to Wisconsin when I was a kid, became a Packer fan, became a Brewer fan, became a Badger fan. I'm all in. Don't you dare doubt my commitment to Wisconsin sports. But I called my best friend and I said, look, if this thing goes 5, you got to come up. It's going to be tough on one of us, but who else to comfort you than your best friend? So I actually don't want this to go 5. I don't want it. I don't want it to go 5. That would be too nerve-wracking for me. But I wouldn't mind if it went 3 and we called it a series, but you can't do that until you win game 2. And then we'll worry about Chicago on Wednesday. That's a 4:08 start, by the way, down there. If you're coming out here tonight, when do the gates open? The gates open, I think, pretty soon here. They're going to open at 4:30. If I'm wrong on that, I believe I'm right, but if I'm wrong on that, I'll be corrected here and be able to correct myself. Bring a blanket if you're going to be tailgating. It's going to be chilly out here. We got a strong wind going. I've been watching a crew from Chicago try to set up a tent because, look, all the local stations are under the structure here at American Family Field out at Hellfair Park because we know. I'm watching them set up out at the there, and it's been enjoyable to watch because their tent is blown over a couple times. They're getting it together. They'll be okay. Anyway, we're seeing the line outside on I-94 here. Real slow traffic as people are trying to line up to get into the ballpark. I see the traffic snaking around, and they'll be opening the gates here shortly, so it should be fun. The grass was just cut the other day on Friday. The Hellfair Field is looking good. Not that the kids can play on it, but they'll be playing on that playground behind me a little later on for sure if you're bringing the kids out. Probably a lot of kids are getting a nap right now because if they're coming on a school night, I would never have been allowed to go out on 8:08 on a school night. But this is a special circumstance indeed when your team is in the hunt for a World Series appearance. You're going to make an exception. Get your homework done, get a nap, and you can come to the game. It's now 3:52. Here's what's coming up at the top of the hour at 4 o'clock. I'll still be out with you here, and we're going to take you around the horn. We're going to hear from our sports guys. Tim Van Voren will be here. Brett Lemoyne will be joining us from Waukesha, where he's been doing a story all day at a couple shops that sell memorabilia, everything from game-worn jerseys and game-used bats to uniforms, to pictures of players and signing sessions. And Tim Van Voren will be along to talk about the matchup. We should be getting a lineup for the team fairly soon here. I don't know that it's been announced just yet. I'm keeping an eye on my Brewers social media feed to see when the lineup has been introduced. And I'm going to ask my producer Delaney to check that to see if the Brewers have announced the starting lineup for tonight. We know that Aaron Ashby will be pitching, but what we really want to see is whether Jackson Chourio will be in the lineup tonight. He did practice yesterday, and he was not able to run at full speed, nor did they want him to run at full speed. He ran at about half speed, had the trainer take a look at him. He says he's good to go. He feels he's ready to play. In the end, that won't be his decision because if there's a tinge of doubt, according to Pat Murphy, they're going to shut him down, at least for tonight, because there's going to be at least one more game after tonight, at least one more game. Hopefully just one more game if the Brewers take it tonight. It would be nice to get a sweep, get a little more rest in, give time for Brandon Woodruff to heal a little bit, give time for Jackson Chourio to heal a little bit, and just rest some arms. I mean, Freddie Peralta threw 5+ innings the other day. I think he had about 87 pitches, which is pretty good for an outing where you pretty much shut the other team down. He did a remarkable job after giving up that inaugural home run to the first batter of the game, Michael Busch for the Cubs. That had Cub fans really, really hyper here the other day. And then the second the Brewers came up and hit double after double after double and took the lead, things started to get real quiet. A lot of good eating at the ballpark any day of the year, but they kind of step things up a little bit. Let's talk about baseball food. What do we got here for the for the playoffs. This is a Battle Box 2-foot nachos. This is the Brewers 2025 postseason menu. What you got here, it's half Wisconsin, so you have the cheese. One side, you got the sausage, and on the other side, it's for Cubs fans. I mean, this is unity through nachos. I'm not sure exactly what's on the Chicago side. I think it's like Malort and Jardiniere, but that's just a guess. But on the Brewers side, we had Tom Hecht, VP of Consumer Experience, out here talking about this the other night. This is if you're at the game and you're watching with Cub fans and you want to share some nachos, you eat off the Cub side, I'll eat off the Brewer side. How about some Copali tamales? This is on the postseason menu, right in the corn husk there. That looks delicious with the salsa on the side. And, of course, you got your cilantro. That looks fantastic. I'm saying all this as somebody who packed a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. This is one, Tipsy Polish. Tipsy Polish, by the way, is what we called my college roommate when we would go out. But it's also a sandwich specialty. You got the Polish, you got the fries. This is fantastic. This has also been on the regular season menu at times. That is fantastic right there. And, of course, come on, Murph's Pocket Pancakes coming your way with the dipping sauce. That's perfect. No guarantee that they've actually been in the skipper's pockets, but we'll see. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, you'll see me on the broadcast side on Fox 6 News at 4. Thanks for joining us on Wisconsin Live Desk.